Okay, let's go.
Are you considering stopping other universities besides Harvard from accepting foreign
Well, we're
students?
taking a look at a lot of things. And as you know, billions of dollars has been paid to Harvard. How ridiculous is that? Billions. And they have $52 billion as an endowment. They have $52 billion. And this country is paying billions and billions of dollars and then gives student loans and they have to pay back the loans. So Harvard's going to have to change its ways. And so are some others.
On that note, a lot of CEOs in the United States, big companies, are foreign. What is that going to do?
I'm fine with that. No, I'm fine with that. No, we want to do that. We're actually going to be doing something in the near future that's going to make it possible for people to come into this country and come in and, have a road toward citizenship. And I think it'll be very exciting, but it's too soon to speak.
Why would you not want the best and brightest from around the world
I do.
to come to Harvard?
I do, but a lot of the people need remedial math. Did you see that? Where the students can't add 2 and 2 and they go to Harvard. They want remedial math, and they're going to teach remedial math at Harvard. No, wait a minute. So why would they get in? How can somebody that can't add or has very basic skills, how do they get into Harvard? Why are they there? And then you see those same people picketing and screaming at the United States and screaming at, they're anti-Semitic or they're something. We don't want troublemakers here. But how do people that can't, when Harvard comes out with a statement that they're going to teach some of their students remedial math, that's basic math, that's not the deal. Okay.
Thank you. Are you getting frustrated with Netanyahu? Thank you. Please go. Administration. So how is this going to impact Harvard? Immensely. Almost a quarter, 25% of their enrollment is international students. And Secretary Noem pointed out that Harvard is very wealthy and that they will be fine without this tuition to, as she put it, pad their endowment. So I just want to make clear that tuition dollars don't go into endowments. Tuition money is used for things like student aid, student programs, payroll, paying staff, paying faculty, and so the loss of tuition is not going to hurt Harvard's endowment. It's going to hurt their ability to take care of the students, faculty, and staff that they have. Right. So Secretary Noem, either in her letter or in a recent statement, has said, I'm not quoting directly, but that Harvard is a hotbed of dissent, of anti-Semitism, and it somehow harbors future terrorists, perhaps. And so they're using that. This is why it's coming through Homeland Security and not another agency. They're saying that the international students at Harvard are somehow a threat to the security of the United States. This has absolutely no precedent.
I mean, obviously, schools have had their SEVIS registration terminated, but it's usually for fraud or they just don't keep records. They've never done it for anything remotely like this, which basically is, we don't like the fact that you're not listening about who you should hire, so we're going to terminate it. That's what they did here. But perhaps this was not necessarily just about Harvard. This was a message to all of higher education that you have to come into line with the thinking of what this administration thinks higher education should be. We're going to see, clearly what we're going to see is a massive drop-off in foreign students coming to the United States starting in September. Well, I think a lot of the administration sees universities as a hotbed of liberals, progressives, people that are aligned against the principles of MAGA. And to them, it's a breeding ground. They see it as a breeding ground. So if you can disrupt the breeding ground, you won't have as many progressive, i.e. educated people, who oppose the administration's nationalism and nativism. But what's also going to happen is the students and the researchers that have been coming to the United States since the end of World War II are now being courted by France. They're being courted by Germany. They're being courted by Canada. They're being courted by China. Hey, why go to the United States? Those people are crazy over there. We will fund your research in France. We will fund your research in China. Come here. Again, but overall, there's 1.2 million students in the United States. I mean, there's a lot of foreign students here, many of them keeping schools afloat. Not only do foreign students bring to the campus, university, this international interaction with American citizen students that are there, but they also provide massive funding because they all pay full tuition. So tuition will go up for U.S. citizens at almost every university if we didn't have foreign students. Will 100% go up. This is
another action that the administration is trying to take against Harvard is to revoke their tax exempt status, which again, based on their very large endowment, would cause Harvard to then owe a tremendous amount of money in taxes, again, hampering research.
But tax exempt status, I mean, it's a privilege. It's really a privilege. And it's been abused by a lot more than Harvard, too. By a lot more than Harvard. So we'll see how that all works out. I don't think
just the requests that they're making of Harvard and other universities, doing what are called viewpoint surveys on both faculty and students, trying to find out ideological beliefs, any sort of political activities. Those have not been seen in the United States for quite some time. Certainly during McCarthyism and the Red Scare, people were more inquisitive, to put it nicely, about people's political views and activities. But, McCarthy faced a tremendous amount of backlash, and for the rest of the Cold War and most of the 21st century, America has prided itself on freedom of speech, freedom of thought, right? And in a recent report, Harvard did admit that there's been a problem with anti-Semitism on their campus, and they are looking into ways to mitigate that. Of course, nobody wants anti-Semitism. There's no place for that in the United States. Right. So they've recently, I think the number is about $2.75 billion that they have immediately taken from Harvard. Harvard, of course, is requesting that they be allowed to keep those funds. Faculty at Harvard are very concerned, talking about how the revocation of that amount of funds, what that's going to do is essentially shut down some of their labs. We've talked about how universities in America are vital for all kinds of research, but particularly scientific research that leads to medical discoveries, advances in technology. And so revoking those funds without a very clear reason or without a very clear process is incredibly harmful to Harvard. And I also just want to make it clear that while Harvard is being used as this
the path towards my dream is actually harder and tougher than I expected. There are so many uncertainties, and so that's why I think I thought that I could accept all the changes along the way as what we have gone through in the past half year. However, this one is specifically targeted the international students, so I kind of feel like really hit by it. And that's why I feel kind of anxious, but I really couldn't do much. Just wait and see. I think I will either defer my studies in Harvard, as they said. That's one of the possibilities, or I will probably apply for master programs in Europe or the UK.
We're certainly feeling pretty nervous, and it's been a dream for me to come from a small town in Taiwan all the way to Harvard. And the preparation is not limited to TOEFL and all the standardized tests or even the documents we present in the statement of purpose, but it includes a set of preparations, including accumulating experiences in leadership, in community service when we are in our undergraduate years. It is exceptionally vital in medical school because medical school is striving to help people all around the world, not limited to one specific country or ethnicity. So at this point of time, I'm trying to remain as positive and optimistic. It's not our job to be here and act like our stuffs were taken away. Rather, we're actually actively trying to find solutions to the problem, including, for my case, the public health study I want to do. Perhaps I can start by looking for local resources here in my home country, and perhaps I can incorporate those findings when I go to the Boston and get my studies, so as to mitigate the losses and opportunities I may have when I actually be in Harvard. And the program that me and a lot of our peers were studying in the Ivy League or in other universities, we're trying to acquire the skills that can benefit us in our home country, and we can go back and make a meaningful change to our society. And I think that this is the best that the United States can offer. So I would like to plead to the President that please, I hope that this continuous generosity can be continued.